Okay, this is gonna be a really quick my thoughts on the game Evolve. Now, I know I haven't really shown any rhyme nor reason to anything about this game because I haven't really played it. But, or, like, I haven't posted anything on this channel. But, I have thought a lot about this game because it's a game that I used to like a lot in the past, but then it got really old really fast because there really isn't all that much in the game. So basically what my thoughts is a lot more focused on what I would do to the game than anything else, or how I would change it. Now basically the idea of it is kind of like Dead by Daylight, where there's one killer, which is the monster in this case, and then 4 survivors, which would be like the survivors in Dead by Daylight. Now the monster needs to either kill all 4 of the hunters, or he needs to destroy a power core once he evolves to level 3. He evolves by eating food. That's also how he gains armor, but he passively regenerates armor at the same time. There are a variety of different types of monsters that I would love to show you, but the only way of going into the darn thing is by going into like a custom game, which is very annoying that I can't just like see the guys as they are. But basically, the changes that I want to make to the game are just things that would make it more popular, help it grow as a game in itself, and things like that. First, I would make it more like League in the sense of how it would make money. Such as the only way that it would make money is purely cosmetic reasons. I find it very stupid that like all the DLC that's in this game and how expensive it is and things like that. Like, I bought a season pass back when I didn't really I got it as a present. A season pass like back when it first came out, but at the same time, like, it follows like the normal trace with this game where it was very popular and then just died. Because of just marketing and a whole lot of different issues. But like, here are all the different monsters. I call these like the variants. Elder Kraken. Like, here's the regular Kraken that which originally released, but then they released this that's later on. I could have sworn I had them unlocked. But what I first would do is give these guys and the hunters like skins. Now, sort of like, okay, I don't want to go straight into the, oh wait, I just picked the abilities. I don't, here. It's better, okay, good. I was just gonna say, better not deploy me. These are just hunters right here. But that both the hunters and the monsters can have like skins. Like, instead of being what he is now, which is this giant monster like with Goliath, he can have, I don't know, something stupid like a teddy bear skin, or something cool like a cyborg skin. And like, each of the own individual hunters and everything will have these skins, and that's what will be real money. But then to get the actual players, there will be an in-game money that you get just by playing the game. Now you have like the first monster and all the first hunters unlocked as soon as you start the game, so you can play the game, but that's just like when you first start. And then you'll have to unlock more and more as you go on, and so on and so forth. So it'll really just like turn into League at that point, where you just want to play the game to unlock more things and just get better at the game. I think that's a good direction where we go, like how it could be played. Another direction is actually Dead by Daylight. Now, each hunter, like, you can pick what I showed a moment ago, like these little, like these perks. I wish it was like Dead by Daylight in the fact that there are specific perks where, like, in both hunters and survivors, the killer can get perks, and so can the survivors in Dead by Daylight. Now, I wish you could do the same here. I wish that each hunter or yeah, there are hunters in this game, and the monster have 4 individual perks. The perk can be very specific to just affecting that specific monster or hunter. It can just affect the entire class, such as like the support, the healer, the trapper, and the assault, or just affecting monsters like any monster. Or it can be wide, like specific for every single individual. Like every single survivor or monster could use it no matter what it is. Like something like what they are now, which is just reduce damage or increase damage. And then they can have like an offering that is, which is the same thing that's in Dead by Daylight. Now in Dead by Daylight, you can offer something that will give you like it'll make the map really foggy. But I'm gonna go and like hunt real fast and just pick it up space. And look, the map effects. You can make it stormy. They use the cargo ships, stuff like this. I wish that these are things that you could get by doing like an offering in this game. That like both the monsters can have one offering, and then each individual hunter will have their own offering. Now, because hunters can have so many different offerings, the monsters' offerings will usually make more of an impact. Like this one, where it could have like a large group of monsters, or maybe something like the portals, or like these right here. Like more carnivorous plants, more dangerous enemies. But then, like the hunters, will be able to put in their own benefits, such as like a supply depot or something. Like there will be supplies all over the map, and then for each like increase of it, like let's say 2 hunters put supplies depots, then there's like double the normal amount, something like that. And I think that would definitely be a very good like increase to how the game played. It would make each in specific thing like a better encounter. It'll just make it more entertaining, like on how to do it. Another thing that I think that they could do, but this will involve them doing what I originally said, which is like making every person like an actual set amount, and then like the skins are what real money, and like these guys can be real money too, like the hunters and everything in the first place, but that it'll just be like League, where it's stupid to do that. But is that I wish they did something like Rainbow Six Siege, in the essence of why can I not think of like the naming of it? Oh, like daily bounties and stuff that give you extra gold, or whatever the currency will be in this game, for doing each bounty and things like that. And they'll have like one per day that gives 250 and everything. Now I think that they should keep the cosmetics that they already have. Like it just really changes the color, but I think that also should just be like an in-game currency that'll be really cheap, but then there'll be actual skins. And I think that they should also continue with what they're doing, which I would call variants, which is like the Val and the Meteor Goliath and the Elder Kraken, like the Rogue Val and the one girl has like her other form. Here, I'll just click that. That would definitely be something. Yeah, and I think that they should keep doing variants, but I think that should be more of like a skin with a twist. I don't think it should be like an average skin that everyone has, but I think that each variant will also be able to get their own individual skins and their own color palettes. Or like their own cosmetics that are like all in-game, or not in-game, that are all purchasable through like real-life money. But then there is like the in-game currency, which is how you just get like the base people. Now, I think the variant should also be an actual in-game, should be real-life money. That way, it's just like a better way to make money. But then there's the fact of like there isn't really much to do in the game, and I think they should expand a bit on their game modes. Here's the other person I was talking about. Here. Maggie. Wasteland Maggie, and then there's like regular Maggie. That's really all I came in here to show. But I think that would definitely be something. But like with the custom game, there really isn't all that many. Like there's quick play, there's like just a regular game. Defend is like a 3-layer thing that's actually really difficult for the monster to pull off. Nest is also very difficult for the monster. Rescues where they have to like rescue 5 different groups or something, to 5 groups of 5, like the hunters do. This is where the monster has to protect like the eggs. The arena is really fun. That's just like a 3v3, or not 3v3, best of 3 deathmatch type deal, which whoever wins, like monsters automatically at stage 2. And then evacuation, where there's like 5 missions, 5 missions and a dynamic campaign where different game modes are played and players affect the environment by winning and losing. Which is like what I was saying with the effects earlier, like that would happen from this. But what I wish they added was that every time they add any hunter and any monster, there's automatically lore and the campaign for each individual one. Now, this would be a lot of work. Now, I don't mean like a campaign like they're just doing something that has nothing to do with the game at all, but I wish that they had like special missions where they would like set your entire group, or like they'd be against a specific monster in a specific game mode in like a set order. For Maggie's, let's say she has to go to the bog, she has to go to specific maps, and she has to rescue people for her lore, and then like you learn a lot about her by doing this. And then like same with like each individual group, and even the monsters, or like Meteor Goliath can start as like a regular Goliath in his lore, and then as he gets something happens and he finds a radioactive like meteor on the planet, he goes inside of it and eats something, or eats like a rock or something, and then he turns into what he is now. Just some like lore behind it that will just like help. I wish they had like some other types of game modes too, in the sense of just like or not game modes. I wish that they had more dynamic maps, is what I was meant to be saying there. Is like I wish they had like a water map. Like a map consisted of like several islands that you can jump between island, and then like both the monsters and everyone can go into the water, but they'll have to like swim, and they can fight underwater, but it would be like very difficult. Like you wouldn't be able to use any of your abilities for as the hunter or the monster inside the water. You'd just be able to like basically melee, and as the hunter you really wouldn't be able to do anything except for like jump out. Like that would be a full monster dominant area as the water. So it'd definitely be a lot harder for the hunters. I think that they do need to increase the effect of monsters. Like if you can win a round at stage 1 as the monster, you are the best player in the game. It's just not possible. It's so difficult to do because you have like such a little shield, so little health. You're missing an ability flat out. Like they need to increase the power of like a monster. Like you are a destructive monster, you should be able to do more. Then there's also, but that's like I wish that they also added a CC, which is like crowd control. I wish that not just like knocking things back or knocking things over, but like slows and such. Like they already have slows for the monster from the trapper, but I wish that like the monster had some slows. Like every time the Goliath did a boulder toss, not only does it like knock you over, but it also slows you down a little bit. Just like things like that that'll like affect the game in very little ways or minor ways, but it will affect it enough to where it could like throw the tide type deal. That would definitely be something they should start adding in like more monsters and more hunters. I don't really know about more hunters. Like the trapper can already CC quite a bit. What else? I wish that they had multiple monster and hunter games. I wish that you could play like any game mode and have 2 to 3 monsters, maybe every single monster in the game, and then you can also have every single hunter in the game, where it's like 4 hunter or 8 hunters and 2 monsters go on. That way is like all 8 hunters could focus one monster and he just dies like in like a moment, or the 2 monsters can catch out like a group of 3 hunters or something like that if they split up and just completely demolish them. something like that, where it's like multiple people in a group. Like I can imagine like a group of Goliath, Meteor Goliath, both the Krakens, the Wraith, the Behemoth, and the Gorgon versus like all. I don't even know how many there are. There like 20 something hunters just in a head-on clash. Especially like let's say they're in a defense mission, all the monsters just jump in at the same time at stage 2, and all the hunters are just like fighting. It would be complete carnage, and that would be such a fun thing to play in this game. That would be incredible. So a little recap with like, I wish that they were like Dead by Daylight in offerings and perks. I wish that they were like League of Legends on how they handle their money with like skins and color palettes and things like that. I wish that they had like campaigns for each individual thing. And that'll be the end of this one real fast. I'm gonna do a second my thoughts on this video or same game as well, but in detail of explaining like of possible future monsters and future hunters as well, of like what they could add next. But those are just what I wish they would do with the game to make it fun currently.